Hey everyone, it's Danielle Taylor with Keller Williams Realty here on the beautiful Outer Banks. It is super sunny today. We are very excited. I feel like we're finally getting into summer beach weather, right Jody? Yes. So everybody get so excited. It's Stats Day. It's Stats Day. I'm sure you missed us last month. We were doing a bunch of stuff and somehow our little update to you guys got missed. So we apologize for that. It will not happen again. And today we've got lots of good information for you. So just remember that if you want to see the full version of our monthly statistics newsletter, go ahead and click the link below and we'll make sure you get subscribed to that. And all of the data that we're going to talk about is courtesy of the Outer Banks Association of Realtors through April 30th, 2022. Okay, so let's get started. So residential sales units ended April down about 20% over 2021. So April was down about 20%. We've been seeing that trend. I mean, we've talked about it a lot. I probably don't need to go over it again, but the big thing is that we're seeing it because inventory levels have been down. And if we look at that 45 to 60 day cycle to close, it kind of mirrors that. So residential sales units down 20%, sales volume up 3.1. So that delta is because of the increases we're seeing in the price ranges and stuff. So our sales volume is still up, but our unit volume is down. We are sitting right now at the end of April, just shy of 724 million. So that's a pretty big deal on the Outer Banks, only 4 months into the year. Pretty amazing. Interesting to note that the dollar volume March over April this year was actually down 10.5%. So that's going to be a really interesting stat, Jody, to watch for us over the next bit to see how that's trending. We'll talk a little bit about that later because I'm going to bring up some ideas about some shifting market trends that we may be seeing. And I say may, and I'll tell you why in a minute. April single family sales units are down 24% April over April to right around 224 units in the month. So that's single family. Okay, so now let's go ahead and talk a little bit about inventory. Inventory is always a key, and when you hear in the media and stuff about some of the situations we found ourselves in, it's because of tight inventory. So right now, April 2022 over April 2021 saw about a 16% decline in inventory and about an 18.7% reduction in new listing inventory. One thing that I really dove into this month was looking a little bit at April 2021 was the highest new listing inventory that we've seen since March of 2019. So that is an interesting trend that I want to dive into a little bit more over the next few weeks because I'm trying to get a sense of, are we seeing some of this tight inventory loosening? So with us seeing that inventory level is creeping up, March and April saw us creep back into the 400 unit range. So let's kind of watch that trend. Right now, we're still sitting overall on the Outer Banks at about 3 to 4 weeks worth of inventory in most areas. So we'll just watch that. Average days on market, another key indicator. So for residential solds, it's sitting at about 40 days, and that's up from 68 days last year to date. So that's a year to date number. Just note 40 days now, 68 days last year. And up just slightly. March was sitting at about 37. So we're up just slightly on days on market. For active units or active residential units, we're sitting at about 54. So we've got the ones selling quickly at about 40, the ones hanging around a little bit about 54 on average, which is up again just one day from 53 in March. But let's watch that trend over the next bit. Finally, let's talk about pricing. So the single family median year to date residential sales price is $629,200. Okay, that's up almost 30% from 2021. Crazy, right?
Wow.
I know. And no distressed inventory sold this month, in the month of April. So that's kind of interesting. The one thing is though, that the median sale price, what I did was I looked back at what happened in March. So our median sale price March versus April of this year is actually down 2.2. So interesting, not a huge change. What is interesting though, is when I looked back to January, every month it's declined slightly. So kind of interesting. A pattern. It is a pattern evolving, you know. So that's something that we're always looking for trends. So let's keep an eye on that. So just to wrap it up, there's been a lot of talk in the media lately about shifting market. Is the housing market cooling off? All of these kinds of things. I'm sure you've seen them. I'm sure they're in your news feed. So I want to talk about it a little bit. This morning, I read an article. I get that online newsletter called Morning Brew. I don't know if you get it, Jody, but if you guys don't get it, get it. It's really good. It's all kinds of stuff. It's market data, it's world politics, it's all kinds of things. Anyway, this morning, lo and behold, I woke up to a headline of, is the market cooling off?
Oh,
so it was timely. I know. I was like, is someone sending me a sign? But anyway, so in that article, they had a few interesting points of data. And, you know, we're a little microcosm here on the Outer Banks. However, we do tend to follow trends maybe a little bit later from other parts. So I think this is an interesting thing to think about. So they cited 3 things that they think may be leading to a cooling off. However, they were very clear to say, and I would echo this is not a cooling off like '08. This is not a cooling off. This is more, I think, like a cold shower versus an ice bath, you know, if it's anything.
Jumping into the pool the first time in the springtime.
Exactly. So the first thing that they cited was that existing home sales fell 2.4% in April, and that was their lowest level in 2 years. So remember, this is nationwide. So this is just one thing we're learning. So 2.4% down. The second thing they talked about is they started looking at the inventory levels in major cities, major centers. And they're seeing that those inventory levels are starting to creep up. So the loosening of the tight inventory levels they're seeing. And the last thing is that Google searches, this is according to Redfin, Google searches for homes for sale were actually down double digits in major cities. Okay, so kind of 3 things that are leading them to say we may be starting to cool off. So here's our idea. What we want to do is take that idea, and over the next few weeks, Jody and I are going to dive in to the statistics as they relate to our local market and see, are we echoing any of these trends? I think just off the top of my head, I'm thinking about a few things we talked about today. Maybe we are. I think it's a little early for us to have a trend line yet. However, I think it would be something interesting for us to see if we're starting to echo some of those dynamics.
For sure. And we get to talk about stats more. So
I know. Well, you know, that's the thing, right? So anyway, watch for that. We're going to work on those over the next few weeks as we're waiting for the next updated stats to come out for May. So we're going to include those as well as some other fun content. Now the weather's great, so we're hoping to get out and do some roving reporter stuff.
Yeah.
I think we were going to call them walk and talks. Is that our thoughts?
Yeah.
So we're going to do some of those on location and things like that. So also, if you have any ideas or places you'd like us to go or things like that, please feel free to shoot them back to us. We love feedback. Anyway, as always, if you would like more information about a specific neighborhood, about a house specifically, whether you want to buy or sell, just let us know. We love diving into it with you, and hope you have a great week, and we'll see you next time.
And remember to subscribe.